Everybody, hold on. I'm getting ready. Gotta get all my electronics in place because I'm late starting. That's why you're my wife. Hi everybody, this is Carolyn, host of the Women's Closet TV show. And tonight our hot topic is child abuse and neglect, which is actually has to do with last week's segment. Remember, last week we talked about child molestation, and some hot stuff is coming up since that last episode. Let me see if I could do this with y'all. Facebook over here. Yeah, that may be a little bit better. Hold on, Facebook. Hold on. That's better. So, I don't own the rights to this music. I have to put that in there as a disclaimer. Please share the video. I have live over here, and I have live over here as well. So tonight's topic, Isaiah, tonight we have child abuse and child neglect. I did have a guest. The thing about guests is that when I present my topic to guests and they say, okay, yes, I want to be a part, I want to share my story, then I said, okay, I will have you on my show so you can share your story. However, sometimes, but not all the time, my guests they decide, you know what, I can't do it, I can't share my story. So tonight's topic, I think, is a little bit more, all the topics dealing with children is sensitive, but tonight's topic is really sensitive because the guest that I had scheduled for tonight went through child abuse and child neglect, but she is just simply not ready to talk about it just yet. So that will be saved for another time as a follow-up. I have to respect my guests' wishes at that time until they're ready. It is what it is, but the show must go on. So tonight I'm going to discuss types of child abuse, and I'm going to give you the resources of where you can get help for any child that you feel is being neglected, child molested, or child abused. I'm going to give you an international resource as well as a local resource for anybody that's here in the city of Brotherly Love watching this video. Okay? So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. I'm going to be discussing different types of child abuse first. But keep in mind, we have child neglect, we have the physical abuse, we have the emotional abuse, we have the sexual abuse, we have the one thing that wasn't listed that I felt should have been on my list. Well, when I did my research, it should have been on the list, was child pornography. To me, child pornography should be right up there with oxygen, because that's very important as well. Domestic violence is also a sign of child abuse. And if y'all remember back in November, I did the segment on child human trafficking, which involved child human trafficking as well as adult human trafficking. So let's get busy with the signs and symptoms of the physical. Hold on, everybody. Thanks, Darnell. Let's get busy with the signs and symptoms of the physical child abuse. So signs and symptoms is going to be if you see any type of injuries on the child body. This is all physical. Bruises on the child's body that may appear to be like injuries, such as the child was burned with a hot iron, which I do know of a situation where a child was burned with a hot iron. If you see that, you know that's a sign of child abuse. If you see black and blue bruises on a child, on an angel, that's a sign of child abuse as well. Another sign is they may be, now some of these I'm going to give you is overlapping. What I mean by overlapping, they fit into more than one category, such as a child may be afraid of being around adults or a specific adults. So mommies, daddies, you need to pay attention, or legal guardians as well, pay attention to the children if you feel as though they do not want to be around a specific adult. Just pay attention, because the signs are definitely there. The signs are definitely there. So grades in school will also be another one that overlaps, not just under physical abuse, but it may overlap under emotional abuse. It may overlap under sexual abuse, which we did cover last week under child molestation. Y'all remember, some of y'all that tuned in. If you have not watched the segment on child molestation, go back and watch it, because my guest that was on the show last week did talk about the experience that she had with her daughter. Next is if the child is telling you about any headaches, any stomach aches, and these are headaches and stomach aches for no apparent medical reason. Okay? So those are signs and symptoms for physical abuse. The next one up is emotional abuse. This comes into the behavior of the child. And a lot of times you have a specialist called a behavioral specialist that is involved with the child because they have been through some emotional problems, emotional distress. Here, that child may be going through depression, that child may be going through anxiety, that child is going to have some type of withdrawal symptoms. There will definitely be failure in school and developmental delays. So all of that falls under emotional abuse. But remember, I said some of these overlap into the other types of child abuse. Other types. We have physical so far, we have emotional. Now we're going to get into, I got my paper so I don't talk too much. and I stay on topic. So I got to put the topics down. Next one is sexual abuse. Here, you may have a child that is acting out in an inappropriate sexual way for a child. That's a sign that this child is being sexually abused. You may also find, and I'm going to give you an example, if you see two children, two kids playing together, and you catch them in the act of doing something that they should not be doing. Now, some of you may say, well, Carol, that could also be that, you know what, you got two children and they just experimenting with each other. That's true. That may not have anything to do with a child being sexually abused. But remember, I said some of these topics overlap with each other. So don't come at me with some of these topics, because I'm saying they overlap. And some of them, they may not have anything to do with a child being sexually abused, because you find two kids playing around with each other. It happens. Okay. Next is if that child has any genital pain, and I'm going to say this, even if it's in the front or in the back, and in case y'all don't know what the hell I'm talking about, if little Johnny or little Jane tell you that their private part hurts in the front or in the back, pay attention to the angels. Listen up, parents. Pay attention to the angels. If you see a child holding themselves like they're in pain in the front or in the back, you need to be paying attention to that child, because that's one of the problems today. Parents is not listening to the freaking babies. Pay attention and listen to the babies. Next is depression. Some children, what we have titled and labeled some kids runaways. They do run away. They run away to get away. They run away to get away. Sometimes they run away to another relative house. Sometimes they run away to a friend's house. Sometimes they run away and they lie about to the person they're going to, why they are at their house. Sometimes they lie, but a lot of times there's some underlying truth that is telling what that baby is telling you, what that child is telling you. There is some underlying truth under there. Pay attention to the angels, people, because there may be some truth to it. Maybe, maybe not, but you don't know unless you do the due diligence to find out if there's truth to it, if there's a lie to it. And if there is a lie to it, why did this child lie on this particular person? But you don't know unless you do the due diligence and find out and get to the bottom of the truth. Fear of being around a specific adult, that could be a reason, or a specific gender. Also, one of the keys is talk to the teachers, because a lot of times, and I'm gonna say this based on experience, a lot of times, how can I say this without giving up this child's name? A lot of times, let me say this. I'm going to tell you a story that happened to one of my students when I was teaching. At that time, I was teaching 6th grade. And I had one of my students come to me and tell me that her mother's boyfriend was doing things to her. As a teacher, I'm limited as to what I can say. I'm limited as to what I can do. So what I did was I had to go and tell the nurse, which is what I did do. I went and told the nurse, and once I told the nurse what the student told me, it was, in a sense, out of my hands. Even though I wanted to do more and could not, it was technically, in a sense, out of my hands. Make a long story short, once the nurse got involved, the mother was called to the school, and I can't give y'all any names. I can't even give you the school, which I'm not going to do either. And I'm definitely not going to give you a name. But I can tell the story without getting in trouble. So the nurse gets involved, and the nurse calls the mother. Then there's a meeting that is held with me, the principal, the mother, and the child. And what that child said, the mother had a hard time believing what her daughter was telling her that was going on with her. So to sum all this up, what I'm saying is, daddies, please. Mommies, please. Pay attention to your little girls and your little boys, because little boys are abused in some kind of way, just like little girls are abused in some kind of way. This is how come I gave y'all the different types of abuse first. There's the physical abuse, the emotional abuse, the sexual abuse, and all of this plays in the underlying line of child neglect as well. Let's talk about child neglect. Child neglect is when we as legal guardians, adults, parents, mainly parents and legal guardians, when we do not make sure that a child and angel's health and welfare is cared for, whether they have clothing on their back, whether they have food to eat, whether they have shelter over their head. You have a lot of mommies out here that is too busy taking care of themselves because they turning it up, not paying attention to the kids. And if there's more siblings in the household than one, 10 times out of 10, the oldest sibling is taking care of the younger siblings, and the older siblings is mainly raising those children instead of mommy, because mommy is too busy getting turned up, taking care of herself, whether she's doing the drug thing, she getting the dick thing going on, what the hell ever. So that's part of child neglect. I wanted to share something else with you. I had to write this down. Children who are neglected are sometimes absent. What's with my hair here? Are sometimes neglected as well. If you find or you see that a child, what is with my hair? It's hot and I'm having a hot flash. So hold on, wait a minute. I go through this every week with y'all. I'm having hot flashes. So children that are neglected, you'll be able to tell a neglected child. I'm gonna give you another example. I had this little baby. Well, he wasn't a baby. He was, how old was this child? I think he 6th grade, then in the 12th grade. And he was a tiny little kid. This angel was a tiny, tiny little kid. And because he was so tiny and short, my heart went out to him because I noticed that something was wrong. And when I pulled him to, this is when I was teaching, I pulled him to the side and I asked him what was wrong. And this little baby, when I say little babies, I mean like infant babies, because I'm talking school age children, but I still call them babies. This little angel said that he was hungry. And he comes to school every day hungry. So I had to connect with the people that worked in the cafeteria where the children get fed their lunch at. And I said, listen, I need you to make sure that you in school every morning for breakfast. Breakfast at that time for this particular school was 7:30. School started at 8:30. So he had to make sure that he was in school at 7:30 so he can be in the breakfast program to make sure he eat. So this angel came to school every day hungry. Why? Because there was no food in his house. According to this angel, there was no food in his house. So the only meals this baby had was lunch and breakfast that he received in school. I did that for as long as I could, as long as I was a teacher, teaching that particular grade in that particular school. I don't know what happened to this child after the school year was over. So I say all that to say this, that I use as an example of child neglect. Someone in this little angel's household neglected to make sure that the children in this household had meals to eat. Clean clothes. And not come to school like don't nobody own them. That's what I mean by neglect. Making sure that our children are properly clothed. They have the clothing that they need for the season of the year. They have shelter and they have food. Their medical care is taken care of. Their dental care is taken care of. All of those elements are part of the importance of making sure a child is not neglected. So let's recap types of child abuse and neglect. We have the physical abuse, we have the emotional abuse, we have the child pornography, we have the sexual abuse, we have pornography. Those are the types. So I also gave you the symptoms of each one of those categories. Thank you, Andrea, for tuning in. Thank you, Eric, for tuning in. Thank you, Sabrina, for tuning in. Thank you, Mark, for tuning in. Good evening, Mark. Thank you. Hi, son. Hi, badass. Hi, sister. How you doing? Hi, Mark. Thank you, Mark, for tuning in. Okay, so I just want to know for everybody just tuning in, I went over the types of child abuse, and I also gave y'all the symptoms of each one of those categories of child abuse. Now, the next thing I'm going to give you, and I had to write this down because I'm going to also put this in the Women's Closet Television Facebook community group. I'm going to give you the international online resource of where a adult or a child can get help. I'm also going to give you the address, the phone number to a resource center right here in the city of Philadelphia. So get a pen and get a paper so you can write this down. I'm going to give y'all a few minutes to get your pen, and I'll be back.
Hey everybody, I'm Beck, host of the Women's Closet TV show, and tonight's segment we were talking about the hot topic of child abuse and neglect. We went over types of child abuse. We also went over the signs and symptoms of each category. So I left for a few minutes to give y'all a chance enough to get your ink, pens, and paper ready so I can give y'all this information. And if you see a child that's in need of some help, please, by all means, don't be afraid to get involved. Take the stand, stand up, make the phone call. You can remain anonymous if you choose to. It is up to you. Then after this, we're going to talk about some other ish that's in the news that has to do with these categories, I should say. So, www.americanspcc.org. That is a organization that will help children no matter where they are at in the country. And that stands for American Society of Positive Care for Children. www.americanspcc.org, and what that means is American Society of Positive Care for Children. It's all over. The next one I'm going to give you is right here. It's a resource right here in the city of Philadelphia, and it is called Child Abuse Prevention Effort. Their address is 8001 Roosevelt Boulevard, Suite 404, Philadelphia, PA 19152, and that is in the greater Northeast. Their phone number is 215-624-1101. Let me say that again, 215-624-1101. If you detect a child is molested, abused, or neglected, you now have the resources to take a stand. I don't care if you remain anonymous, just do something. Do something. Children don't deserve to be neglected, abused, put up for child pornography, and definitely not for human trafficking and turned into sex slaves or agricultural slaves, because that's also a part of child abuse. Next, I want to talk about, and I want y'all to tell me or type in how y'all feel about what I'm about to say. Now, last week I did the segment on child molestation, okay? And a lot of y'all got involved. Y'all heard the lady's story, but I'm gonna say this. Why? 2 days after I did that, the R. Kelly shit come out.
And everybody is talking about R. Kelly and Lifetime and how he's trying to sue Lifetime because Lifetime publicized his story. And here's the thing. R. Kelly been doing this for years. He has been in the news and been in court, gotten off in court, and still did what he do, because he's still doing it today. But now that Lifetime put his story out there, why did his ratings go up? I don't get that. Can y'all just type something in and tell me why would anybody still support R. Kelly music knowing the shit he did and the shit he's still doing? Then the part that I don't get is this. The media. I'm going to say this about the media. The media, if y'all remember, fucked with Mike hard, really hard, about how he was molesting and playing with these little boys and stuff. Y'all remember that? How who else was it? Mainly Mike. And what's strange is when Mike died, those people that said when Mike was living that Mike did these things to their children, when Mike died, those very same people said none of that was true. We just did it for the money. Now, flip side to this. You got R. Kelly freaking ass, who's been proven that he did what he did, and can't nobody touch him. Why this man why his dick ain't cut off? Why? How come some mommy somewhere haven't said, you know what? No. You're not gonna do this to my daughter. Chop his fucking dick off and get it over with. Or like my daughter said, she's, you know what, mommy? He hasn't ran across the right dad. How come R. Kelly hasn't ran across the right dad? How come these daddies and mommies is letting it ride? I don't get that. I really don't get it. You love your child and you know your child is up in R. Kelly's house and you want to bring her ass home, go get him. Go get her. But here's the thing. R. Kelly had a lot of people paid off, to include some cops in the police department. That's why he felt as though he couldn't be touched. Now, I don't know how many daddies and mommies is watching this or watching this over here. But I do know that had it been the right freaking daddy and the right mommy like me, I own too many weapons to just let it, you know what, I'm gonna let this shit ride. No, I'm gonna put one of them goddamn weapons to use. I'm gonna just have to go to jail. I don't mind going to jail for my kids. Don't mind. I don't get it. So his ratings go up, right? All this shit come out about R. Kelly, and guess what? People just start buying his music, buying his music, buying his music, buying his music. What sense does that make? And now he has been served. He's been served. He is being investigated. And you have people in the entertainment industry that is hashtagging whatever the hashtag is for R. Kelly. Mute R. Kelly. That's the new hashtag that's going on. Hashtag mute R. Kelly. Well, fuck, y'all should have did that years ago when he started messing around with these teenage girls and he's a grown-ass man. Now you want to mute him. That's real smart. You want to mute a man that y'all know has been playing around with young girls. Then there is entertainers in the music industry who knew what he was doing. But you know what? They collaborated with his ass and still made music, all for the sake of what? The almighty dollar. So nobody loses no money. And then the people that knew about it didn't say anything because they would have been messing up people's money. Really? Money's supposed to be the root of all evil, huh? That's what they say. So, to sum this up, mommies, daddies, ladies, gents, legal guardians, if you suspect a child is being neglected, abused, freaking kidnapped, and you know where the hell they at, speak up. Say something. Do something. Be a part. Get involved. You can get involved and even not leave your name. You don't have to leave your name and number. All you got to do is make the goddamn phone call. You can remain anonymous. If you choose to do this and you choose to be involved, you can remain anonymous. You don't always have to, like, you know what, I'm going to play the hero. No, you can remain anonymous. And I want to say one more thing that was put out there. I went on, I don't know if y'all noticed, this is off topic because I'm going to end it with this. It has nothing to do with tonight's segment, but I have to put this out there because it's very, very serious. I received a text message from a very close friend of mine that talked about this drug called fentanyl. I think that's how you pronounce it, fentanyl. And what the text message said was, when you go to the Walmarts or you go to the Target or you go anywhere where you gotta put your groceries into a shopping cart, and you know how they have the sanitizing wipes at the door, if you don't do it, start using the sanitizing wipes to wipe off the handle on the carts, because you have people that take the drug fentanyl, and fentanyl can be it can be transferred from a animate object to an inanimate object and get attached on your hands, and it is very deadly. So what is so ironic about it is that when I read that, I did share it on my Facebook page, but when I went on the Massage Therapy State Board website to check out my deadline and what all my requirements are to renew my license as a licensed professional, guess what was up there? Fentanyl. And what I will do is I did download that from the state board, the Massage Therapy State Board, where the powers that be that I have to answer to. I'm going to post it into the Facebook group, in the Women's Closet Facebook group, but I don't know if I can do this. I have to figure out how to do this. Post it to my Facebook page so that y'all can see exactly what I'm talking about. It's this drug called fentanyl, and it's a deadly drug. It can be transferred from us, an animate person, and to an inanimate object, and the next person that touches the inanimate object can get it on their hands. And it is a deadly drug. The other thing I want to talk about is ladies, I don't think men do this too much, but I'm going to say this. Ladies, do not accept any card. This is a deck of cards. So I'm gonna show y'all something. Hold on, wait a minute. There's, you know how when we be out and about in our daily lives and somebody walks up on us and say, here, and they passing out cards. They're passing out cards. They're going to be cards to an event or cards to somewhere. Ladies, young ladies, old ladies, ladies period, and gents, I'm going to say gents too, do not accept any card from anybody. And I'm going to tell you why. That card, they've gotten creative, y'all. That card, that envelope or card has gas attached to it. Let me tell you a story. And this recently happened. Young lady was at the gas station. Young lady was at the gas station. Gentleman walked up on her and gave her a card with an envelope. She never opened it. She gets in the car with her mom. Young lady gets in the car with her mother. While they in the car, the envelope gets opened up. And when the envelope got opened up, the gas, I guess the sleeping gas got exposed to her. And the mother kept shaking the daughter like, why she not waking up? And it was all started with that envelope that had the card in it. The mother noticed that there was a car following them. And that's when things got escalated. The mother did what she was supposed to do to get her daughter to safety. So I say all that to say, ladies and gents, if you have somebody that come up to you, I don't care where it is, if they coming up to you and they giving you anything in an envelope or a card, I use this as an example, y'all, an envelope or a card, do not take it. Just brush them off, do not take it, because it has sleeping gas attached to it. And what these little creative assholes decided to do was, if you open up that envelope, and which is very dangerous, because you could be driving and you're going to pass out, but they're following you along the way. That's dangerous. So don't accept anything, any card from anybody in an envelope. So I'm signing off. I hope that the information that I shared with y'all tonight was informative. Share the video, share the live stream. If you know somebody, a child that needs help, please, by all means, get involved, remain anonymous. Keep a lookout for the fentanyl drug. Make sure that you use those sanitizing wipes, or just buy your own sanitizing wipes to wipe off the shopping cart that's in the malls or wherever they may be. Keep out for the sleeping gas that is going around on the cards that are inside envelopes. So that's all I have for tonight, everybody. And I would like to say thank you, Ellie Dukes, for tuning in. Thank you, Sister Marla, for tuning in. Thank you, Dilligan, for tuning in. Thank you, Mark, for tuning in. Thank you, Andrew, for tuning in. Thank you, Eric, for tuning in. Thank you, Sabrina, for tuning in. Thank you, Isaiah, for tuning in. Thank you, Darnell, for tuning in. My name is Carolyn. I am the host of the Women's Closet TV show. And next week, the topic is going to be on, I did a video about this, I didn't do the video, but I posted a video, because I'm going to tell you what's on for next week. I posted a video about these parents that are these parents are turning their children over to the justice system. And I'm all for it. It's called intervention. And I don't know if y'all remember back in the day, it was called Scared Straight. So Scared Straight is starting to come back, where you have these children are out of control, and the parents feel like they can't control the children. So they put the children in front of the judge. The judge sends the kids to jail to scare them straight. And I posted a video on it. So I want to know, my show is going to be on that next week. Please tune in because I want to know how y'all feel about that. And that's all I have for now. Take care, everybody. Stay blessed up. Bye-bye.